This is the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast, episode 328.
I program my own computer.
We have a server crash, 404 error, page not found, links aren't working, system is crashing, system is crashing, system is crashing.
Your old HTML website, barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website, better than it was before. Better, stronger, faster. We have the technology. The technology. Why, hello everybody, this is Adam Silver, the host of the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. All right, upcoming events. First thing up, no WordCamps. I'm sorry to say. I'm excited about the show today, but sad there's still no WordCamps next weekend or anything online. No one shared anything with me, so I don't have anything to share with you. So if you have something that's WordPress related in the industry or technology that's specific, kind of in the industry, in the space, let me know. I'll share it here. Why not? All right, moving on, segment one. In the news, a couple things here. Kinsta released an article about NULLED plugins and why you should stop using them. And basically, you're not breaking any laws, but what is a NULLED plugin? Well, it's a couple definitions around it. It's defined as a premium WordPress plugin or theme that's been hacked or contained modified code designed to cause harm or collect information. So someone could buy a plugin, a premium plugin, change the code base, and resell it or even give it away because of the GPL license, but it may have bad stuff in there. So they're not illegal, but it's just not ethical, and it sucks because you don't know what the code base has been done. So there's an article, link in the show notes about that. Pretty cool. It's a good article. Read it. Don't use illegally sourced plugins. Also, WordPress has named 5.5 release leads. It's over on the make.wordpress.org core information. Josepha released that, when was that? Just last week. And also, there's a plan for the 5.6 squad to be an all-woman team, which is the first time that'll happen. And that sounds really exciting and pretty cool. Not to say you can't contribute if you identify as male or as non-binary or anything else for that matter, but the team itself will be all women, etc. So links to those are in the show notes as well. Is that it in the news? I think so. Yeah, that's it. So meat and potatoes, segment 2. This is about log files and debugging. So a few weeks ago, I had an issue with the Gravity Forms and Zapier. It's a service that helps me automate some things. And now that I think about it, actually, I remember there was 2 issues. One of them was my own. One of my zaps stopped working. I was trying to troubleshoot that. And the other was actually from Gravity Forms itself, is because they asked me to beta test something for them. So in any case, I opened up a support ticket for both things because I'm a paying customer for Gravity Forms. I use their plugin. I pay for it. I've had it since like 2013. Again, it's not a NULLED plugin. I pay for good support. I pay for good code. So, reference that earlier mention there about NULLED plugins. Anyway, so I submitted a ticket. I got a autoresponder email saying that it was received. They'd get in touch with me within 24 hours. As it turns out, actually, Gravity Form support was on top of things. It reached out right away within the hour, actually. And they asked for more information, including the log files of the issue at hand that Gravity Forms can create once that little checkbox in their plugins enabled. And then they could help debug the issue. And it got me thinking, what other log files are there within WordPress and how are they used and how to enable them, etc. And what do we want them for? So first, 2 definitions. One, a log file. So a log file is defined as a file that records either events that occur in an operating system or other software as it runs, messages between different users and communication software. Logging is the act of keeping a log. Pretty simple, right? All right, and debugging is the process of finding and resolving defects on a problem within a computer program that prevent correct operation of computer software or system. So you're going to debug a bug, right? The bug is when something goes wrong. Debugging it is fixing it. Fancy words, if you will. Not really fancy words, but kind of jargon, but that's what it is. Okay, so what log files are there to be used with WordPress? Well, there's actually quite a few. From the WordPress install itself, there's also PHP, MySQL, plugins, and themes. But I'm going to focus specifically right now just on WordPress itself and its logging and debugging because that's all we got time for. So to enable this, and first and foremost, and I didn't do this for the longest time, and I don't do it. Well, I'm doing more of it lately because I'm doing some more diving into some code bases and whatnot, kind of looking around and educating myself. So to enable this, the debugging and logging, a couple of steps have to happen. And you do this via FTP or cPanel, file manager at your hosting level. You want to log in and you're going to access your WP config file, the PHP file, in that root directory of your website. You have to enable it. It's really simple to enable. You open that file, and there's a line of code at the very bottom that says, that's all, stop editing, happy blogging. So right before that line, you're going to add define, parentheses, wp_debug, true. And I'm not going to give you all the syntax right here. You can copy and paste this from the show notes, or it's out there. It's widely available. It's not a big secret. If that line already exists and it says false, change it to true. Okay. So that turns on debugging. So also, so you also want to debug log if you want to have those logs in there. So there's also another line, define wp_debug_log to true as well. Okay. And then one more step is if you want to save that log file, which you do want to do. I said you do want to do. That's right. Yes. So you want to save the log file somewhere, and typically like in a temp folder. And that's one more line of code, define wp_debug_log, and then the directory where you want it to go, giving it a name, typically wp-errors.log. Okay. So once those are enabled, you can exit out of that FTP or your file manager, and then you can start debugging and seeing the errors. So the kicker here is this. The login of errors actually won't happen recursively. There's no way, it doesn't know what happened before it got turned on, right? There's no memory there. It's not saved anywhere at the moment. You need to recreate the issue. You need to take it through the steps, load the page, try to go through the expected outcome to make that bug happen again. Then it gets logged. Okay, so now, if you have a log to work with, you have some choices, some options here. If you're techie, if you're savvy enough, you can try to figure out the issue on your own. You can fix it. If you're stuck, you can take this log and reach out to the WordPress community as a whole. The community, as you know, is awesome. And you can share information like, hey, I had this error. Here's the log. Anyone know what this means? What's going on? You can also reach out to the developer if it's a plugin or theme like I did with Gravity Forms. And again, with the log files in hand, so they can see the issue and provide a much faster fix. The more information you have, the sooner, the easier it is to fix because you don't have to go back and forth. So highly recommended to do this. And of course, there's also Google. I've actually fixed a few things in the past by looking at a log file and looking at an error. Like in the PHP, I've seen PHP code come through in the header of a website. For whatever reason, it just does there sometimes. And I will take that error and put it into Google, and I can get a lead on what the error is and what the fix is. So, that's pretty much it. Of course, there's more to than debugging. You have to drill down. What's the error? Is it something else? Is it deprecated code? Is it something that is it missing some syntax? Is it a colon, semicolon, a bracket? You just don't know. But this will help you find that issue, right? Okay. So lastly, when you're all done, let's say you fix the problem. It's recommended that you turn off the logs and the logging when you're done because you don't want to bog down the server and have a ton of log files going all the time. And also, it leaves your site exposed slightly to sensitive info for hackers. I mean, by accident or not accident, if your site is non-secure, someone could get in, grab that log file, see the issues, and exploit the site that way. So simply, way to fix this and to turn it back off is go back to wp_config, change the statements from false, from true, to false from true. That's right. And then it'll be turned off. And you can turn it back on if you need it. If this is staging, you don't really have to worry about it, but if it's a live production site, turn it back off. So, also there is a much more in-depth technical knowledge database over at wordpress.org. I'll link to that in the show notes as well. But in a nutshell, it's good to know how to do this. Turn it on, turn it off, what results in it. And I would recommend just even trying it locally. Like maybe do this as a test out there for you if you want some homework this week. Run a local install or a staging server. Turn it on, and then out of the theme or something, or out of a plugin, cause an error and see what happens in the log file and in the, on the web page itself. But that way you'll see what's going on and say, oh, that's what happens there. So you kind of get an understanding of what's happening in your site. Even it's kind of good to know. It's kind of fun, I think. I don't know. It was fun when I did it. So, all right, that's it for this week's Meat and Potatoes. Logs and debugging, good times, good fun stuff, right? Okay, moving on to segment 3, tip and tool of the week. This is a website I wanted to share. It's called webdesignmuseum.org. It is the place you can go explore the timeline of milestones of the history of the web from 1990 to present. I don't know how I found out about this site. It's pretty darn cool, though. I remember I went back and looked at it. Archie was the first search engine, Gopher for FTP and Usenet. Memories that I have from using those things flooded right back into my mind when I used to use VAX systems back in college and, Unix and VMS. Good times. I really miss those things. Anyway, pretty cool to see this webdesignmuseum.org /web design history. Link in the show notes. Check it out if you want to see some history about the web and where we all came from. I mean, I know where I was when Mosaic came out. Do you? I was in college, and I remember links before that, LYNX, all that stuff. It was amazing. I used to love that stuff. Okay, that is it for this week's episode. If you have any questions, go ahead and send it in via email, adam@kitchensinkwp.com, or use that speak pipe function of the website. If you want to support the show, that'd be great. Come to Patreon. If you want to buy me a coffee, there's also a link on the website for Buy Me a Coffee. You can sponsor the show. There's a form on the website as well. Thanks so much for listening. See you next week. Now go out and do some awesome things with WordPress. All right, bye-bye.